Folks, many of you had amazing questions under the last video, such as, for example, where is video 2, what happened to this series, and is this series dead, all of which were completely justified. But here we are now. The answer, of course, to all of these questions is that we are now ready to face the Austrians in the name of our brothers right here in the Republic of San Marco. We are at a very, very important point of divergence when it comes to the historical route and the real route of our history. We're looking at 1846. We are the Roman Republic. We have just been toppled by liberal and pro-Italian forces. The Pope is out and democracy and Italy are in. And today we are finding ourselves on the end of a barrel of a gun, because the Austrians are now coming in to not just suppress us, but to also suppress the brave Venetians and the brave Lombards who rose up against them. It's 1846, it is 2 to 3 years early. Obviously, these are historically inspired events. The Republic of San Marco really existed in 1848, 1849 in the First Italian War of Liberation. And then, of course, the Roman Republic also existed, although I have a feeling that we're gonna last a bit longer than they did historically. Now listen, let's not beat around the bush. We are in a pretty precarious position. Not only are we at war with Austria, or are going to be at war with Austria, we are also looking at elections for a government that currently is, not really legitimate at all. Until the election results are in, I'm not going to change anything here, domestically speaking. I'm not going to reform the government, etc, etc. We're going to see who wins the elections, and then based on that, are going to make a pivotal decision. Because always remember, this is and always will be a roleplay playthrough. What I mean here is that if the Conservatives win, if they form the government after everything is said and done, I'm going to decide on this based on, how things are looking, we may just re-invite Faustino Pernati di Momo. He is the former Pope, and he is currently running around as an exiled agitator. Theoretically, if we invite him, we could even actually make him the Pope again, if we become a theocracy once more, which still very much is on the table. Now, should the Conservatives lose, I'm really looking forward to this. We can... Jakob Grimm. That's funny to see him here. We can invite a very, very important personality. It is Giuseppe Mazzini. Now look, I'm not an expert, I'll be open about that right here. I have no particular ideas when it comes to the Italian wars of 1848, 1849, but I did look a couple of things up. This man right here is one of the 3 people that were incredibly influential in the historical Roman Republic. He showed up, he had a good time, and then he was kicked out by the French once more. Now the other 2, one of them I know is not in the game. I think his name is Safini or something, but the other guy is right here, Carlo Amelini. They, all 3 of them together, were leading this republic, and should the liberals win, I think we're going to be inviting Mazzini as well, in the hope, of course, that, maybe we can work something out. Maybe we can really make this republic something that lasts. Anyway, those are just our domestic issues, which admittedly are very important. I mean, we are pro-Italian now, and quite frankly, I do even think that if the Pope were to return, maybe he learned a lesson. Maybe he says, you know what, I get it, we need Italy, but under my leadership. Either way, domestic things aside, there is something, there's something else going on right here. We have sided after the Pope got ousted with the Republic of San Marco. And this is going to be a dire fight. This is going to be a terrible fight. They have, 2 units. They have 2,000 men if they can fully staff these, and that is it. On the other hand, we have 15,000 plus whatever we can get as conscripts, and I mean the Austrians, they got troops, okay? They got plenty of troops. We're gonna take a look at how the battle selection and how the formation stuff to Frontline and such works today in this episode. We're gonna discuss this and hopefully do whatever we can not to die in this war, but that's a tall task. Alright, but let's take a quick look at the election right here. We have a negative momentum for the Conservatives, but they're winning a plurality. That's not too bad for them. And then everybody else, who are you led by? A protectionist. So he doesn't really care about the question of liberalism or the question of the Pope. Interesting. The Agrarian Party might actually become the kingmaker here. I assume that these are basically on one, sort of aligned with one another. We have the left and then the Free Trade Party, but yeah, the Agrarian Party. Oh, and you know what? You know who's not running? Oh my god, why are you not running? So the Roman Curia is staying neutral in these elections. Jesus Christ. Okay, well, let's put all that aside. We're going to wait that election out, and let's talk about our actual army. we have the first Roman army, and there's one thing here that is really gonna throw a wrench into our plans, and I hate it, but it is what it is. And that is the fact that I forgot to put a commander in here after the last one died. This is important because if you don't do that, this right here will happen. Our organization score is so low that we're eating all of these penalties, and I think per day, I want to say, you can only recover 0.5 organization, which means the war will start with us having all these negatives. And this is annoying. I really wish that it just auto-assigned generals, whatever, right? But it is what it is. We're going to be underprepared, which kind of makes sense. I mean, not that it's intended, but yeah, the army wasn't exactly in our focus until now. Now, when it comes to recruiting somebody here, I feel like Enrico Tuesca is our best case here. Is there a lot of forested terrain here? We got some forested terrain in which we may be fighting. Yeah, this could be forested. This right here is plains, I think. I really like the surveyor trait, just for the record, because home defense and such is really, really good. The problem is just that we're not fighting at home, so it's very useless to us. I'm going to go with him. We're going to recruit him for this army, and then we're going to continue. So, fundamentally, you can see now we are going to be recovering organization, but it's going to be very slow. Yep, daily organization gain 0.25. Jesus Christ, that's terrible. Okay, with that being said, we are in a position where we obviously want the guy on the defense because that is important. When it comes to the actual makeup of our army, we are pretty defensive. I mean, we got artillery and we got lancers, both of which are aggressive units. You can see it in their stats right here, but we have more than the majority of this army just being line infantry with pretty good defensive values. In case, yeah, in fact, the best defensive values that we have here, actually. Now, there's an argument to be made that defense with artillery can be really successful because artillery may lack defense, but they have kill rate, and I said this in the last video already, kill rate is insane. But fundamentally, if you are defending, you want an infantry-based army. And we're going to reinforce this. We're going to reinforce this by indeed building up conscript centers here. The way this now works, as you can see, is that you select per formation where you want the conscripts to come from. In this case, we have one formation, so all of our conscripts can go to that formation. It's completely fine. When we raise this, so when we mobilize this army, we can then also press this button right here, raise all conscripts, and those conscripts that we just assigned will then be recruitable. But before we do this, before we raise anything, I want to check out the mobilization options here real quick. I said last video, and that is entirely correct, that the AI doesn't use these, so us using it is kind of unfair, but fighting Austria, I'm gonna be a bit unfair, okay? What we're gonna do here is we're gonna pick up extra supplies. This means that per unit level, we will be using 0.7 groceries input. We may have to import this, we're gonna see, but it also means we lose less morale. It's really, really good. And then right here, I would love all of these, so between battles, our morale recovery will be better, which currently is really, really bad because we don't have any organization. I doubt that we can import opium, so I'm not going to click this. I will click these though. The rest doesn't really matter to us, and we can't do any of the cool ones like flamethrowers, so here we are. Okay, but with that being said, we can mobilize and then raise all conscripts, and if we then click in one of the states, we can see indeed these conscription centers have now been formed. Oh, and I'm seeing I want to assign, yep, one of the better PMs right there. All right, and now that we are mobilizing and recruiting our conscription centers, we're just going to be waiting here in our HQ until we come close to the actual war, at which point we will send away directly to the front line. If we do it earlier, we will take a whole lot of attrition, which I would rather not do. And you know, I'm thinking now, should I possibly try to recruit more? It seems so impossible almost because we're basically bankrupt. I'm gonna risk it all. Okay, I'm gonna risk the biscuit here for our friends in northern Italy. I still have absolutely. If you've played the beta, you will be looking at this and you will saying this guy has no shot. He's dead in the water, and I might be, but I'm gonna try whatever I can. Oh, and you unpause, and immediately, obviously, we have the landowners very, very angry. -17 under Filippo Resta. Why are you so angry? You love theocracy. Right, this is a trait I believe that might be exclusive to the Papal States. They like theocracy over monarchy. They hugely like theocracy. So, yeah, that made them very angry, switching off of that. And then on top of that, of course, also moving away from oligarchy. If they win the election, they might just be back in government. Oh, but they're not going to win the election. They are not going to win the election, I think. Okay, well, fair enough then. What we're looking at now is a potential rebellion. I'm not too concerned by that for the time being. It's a small, you see this right here, it's a very tiny rebellion. And let's actually take a look at the makeup here, right? Yep, civic nobility, huge cloud right there. No cloud here. That's why they can't convince anybody to rebel, and this is our capital, so this can't rebel. Yeah, okay, so this is, even if they were to rebel, a winnable revolution. I would argue. All right, and now the bad message comes in. We can see which units they think they will be assigning to this front line, and they're not even mobilizing more because they know it is over. We have 38,000 made up of just skirmish infantry. This is a very defensively minded army. And then here comes the big disaster under General Laval Nugent von Westmeath. And then General Heinrich von Hesse. We're looking at massive artillery, massive lancers, and obviously I didn't even mention it. Skirmish infantry on its own already has better stats than our troops as well, because we still are on line infantry. Okay, yeah, this is going to be really rough. This is going to be really rough, because they have enough units to be defensive, to be offensive, and they have the numeric advantage. Alright, well, and now we are just a couple of days away. Let me check this. We are exactly, that's like 5 days, I think, away from actually starting this war. Meaning we have to send the first Roman army over here, and I'm thinking maybe I need a second commander just so that we could be there for a second battle. Listen, it doesn't really matter. The way this now works is we tell the army to go somewhere, and indeed it goes there. You can see this represented by these very fast horses, indeed extremely fast horses. They're going over there through the revolutionary territory. Forget about that, okay? Don't worry about it too much. And yeah, they will be at the front line in due time, and when they are, I expect this number not to move all that much, because they still just have so many troops. Okay, minus 58. Let me explain this front line. If you've played Victoria 3 previously, this isn't all that different from before. It's just that how you get to that front line, and then of course how it's supplied, is a bit more realistic because, well, they actually travel, right? They actually utilize the travel network instead of just saying 30 days and I'll be there. Okay, where are you in the meantime? I don't know. Yeah, that stuff is gone. Instead, they now travel to the front line. Once we are at the front line, things still work pretty much as you may have been used to. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, basically these sides, depending on whether their generals are saying I will advance, will gather advancement points. Once they hit 100, they kickstart a battle. Now, the way it works here with the open beta patch is that you can have multiple battles per front line, which is not going to be in our favor because we have fewer troops here, but don't worry about it, okay? I'm going to be honest with you. I have fought many wars in Victoria 3, and I can basically estimate this. We're screwed. We're going to die. My best hope is that we may get them to trigger a battle, let's say right here in Lombardy. And in fact, this is their capital, by the way. I'm going to just designate this as a strategic objective that we really need to defend. If they trigger a battle here in the mountains or here in the mountains, it would be huge, because thanks to their numeric advantage, if they get a lot of space, so combat width, they will be able to outnumber us in the battle like crazy. It will be nasty, it will be terrible. So we gotta hope that they kickstart a battle right here somewhere, you know, that they basically get a bad roll when it comes to terrain, and that we can funnel them right into the, you know, sort of mountain gaps here. If they attack us in the plains, we will be able to withstand, we will also be able to die, because that is exactly what will happen if our 19 troops meet their 1 million troops. Alright, but let's see this in action, because there's also more. It's not just how battles are started and how many battles you can start, it's also how the battles are actually selected in the first place. When we take a look at this, we can see they're advancing. Ooh, this is really awful. Oh my god. They started a battle right here, which is just the worst possible option because they brought so many troops. What is happening here? First of all, they started this battle, fair enough, they want to conquer Venice, it makes perfect sense. And they got to bring a ton of troops. This is because they have the numeric advantage on the front line, and because they have gotten a plains combat with territory. Not to mention that, of course, in Venice the infrastructure is pretty good, so the restriction to how many troops they can bring, yeah, it's negative, but not by all that much. This means they are outnumbering us not just on the front line, but also in this battle. You can still see that we are looking fairly equal. The reason for this, fundamentally, though, is that we just have a very defensive army. Now, having a defensive army doesn't necessarily mean anything when it comes to the battle selection. Let's take a really quick look at how and what units were actually chosen here. We're looking at theirs, and you can see it's all horses and it's mobile artillery. It's all the way down, right? You see this? Still holds right here. Yep, it's just a crazy amount of horses, and then at some point we start hitting the skirmish infantry. What happened here? How is it calculated? This is pretty easy to understand. Right now, the formula for what units are chosen in a battle is very simplistic. It's literally just saying if you are on the offensive, choose units that have really good offensive values. If you're on the defensive, choose units that have really good defensive values. You can see this here as well, although in our case it's not that apparent because I'm pretty sure this is just every single unit we have on this front line, which shows you how desperate we are, but yeah, here we are. If we had a bigger army, it would have primarily chosen line infantry because they are just better on the defensive. In short, what this means is, we're looking at a situation where if you're building an army in the open beta right now, just be aware that you basically want to build an army that has enough troops, more than anything else. You can build in a ratio, you can have more infantry, you can have more artillery, that's completely fine, but it doesn't really matter as long as the battles get to choose very good offensive and very good defensive units, depending on whether you're on the offensive or the defensive. Long term, this formula will be a lot more complex. We're looking forward to this. I'm saying this particularly from the VTM, so from the mod that we're playing with point of view, because we have all of this in script. How a unit is chosen, whether you need certain ratios in battles between artillery and horses and infantry and so on and so forth, all of that is in script. We can take a look at that, we can change that stuff, and I'm really looking forward to this. But obviously, I'm waiting for the devs to do something, right? They are going to adjust that script. We're going to take a look at this when the open beta is out, or rather, when it comes out of the open beta into the full patch. But for the time being, all you need to know is, the way these battles are chosen just says, hey, if you got enough offensive units, we're going to bring all of them. And look at this cannon, by the way. There's the cannonball is firing almost into our own cannon right there. But yeah, this is the very first battle. I honestly don't even know what city this is, like Verona or something. We're going to lose this battle. This is a huge disaster. And we're going to lose it by sheer numbers. But what you can see, and I think this is very important, is thanks to us having a very good defensive value, we are demoralizing our enemy in greater numbers, which could mean if we weren't this overwhelmed, we are very overwhelmed, if we weren't that overwhelmed, we may come out ahead. We may still win, but we are too overwhelmed. So you can win a defensive battle even if you're the underdog, if you're not as screwed as we are on the front line. But yeah, we are extremely screwed. And yep, there is the result. We have an agrarian party victorious. That is incredible. So they do indeed become the kingmaker. Let me just check this. We'll join the right on the next government reform. Oh my god, the military is joining the conservatives. Wow, so the only choice of government that we currently have is a hyper-liberal government led by the Agrarian Party and the Roman Curia. This is so confusing. Could we be seeing the return of the Pope and theocracy, but with democracy? Is that where we're going here? But I'm also like, who do I now invite? Do I invite Giuseppe Mazzini? I really don't care for this. So do I invite Faustino Pennati di Momo? Oh, he would join the landed voting because he is a member of the civic nobility. No, you know what? Since they're in government, I'm going to keep my word. We're going to go with Giuseppe Mazzini. Let's take a look at him here. He is one, of course, of the historical leaders of the Roman Republic, and maybe he'll do something cool. Right now, he's not doing much. You know what, actually? I'm going to go ahead, I think, and give him not leadership, but rather, I'm going to make him a general. Yeah, Giuseppe Mazzini, why don't you fight for freedom, buddy? I could make him advance the front line. It would probably fit his character, but just try to survive, okay, buddy? Right, and so this initial battle is coming to an end. I can already see, since we have lost so much manpower, we're not looking at success here. But man, this is such an interesting battle to look at, because we were capable, look at that, how many troops of theirs we demobilized. We really whittled them down to just 1/3 of their initial strength. It just wasn't enough. If we had been slightly less disadvantaged, we could have possibly won this just based on holding on a defensive level and demobilization options, but yeah, no such luck. What is this right here? Young Joseph. Giuseppe Mazzini has officially arrived in the Roman Republic to a mixed reception. Some call him a pest and others call him a visionary. University lectures and tours and nothing more. Oh, watch closely for a young Roman Republic movement. You know what? Yeah, sure. Why don't you get going here, okay? We are liberal now. That is what we do. All right, now look, we are in a desperate phase. We are trying to fend off an empire, the Austrians, and we're losing. I could see it potentially where we say, you know what? Let's go towards theocracy again. A liberal Italy, unified under the Pope, might be something that works for some. But I did also just look up Mazzini in particular here, and he did not like the Pope. Initially, he apparently went, yeah, maybe we can... And then the Pope said, I hate all of these Italians trying to unify. Giuseppe here apparently was a pretty staunch Republican. So, as long as he is here, as long as he is not disgraced in this republic, we will stick to the parliamentary republic. We might move to presidential, but honestly, not right now. Things will remain the way they are. I would like to do a bit of a reform here, though. That would be beautiful. Per capita taxation already would be great. But okay, either way. So we passed interventionism, and from there onwards, we are looking at a Republican-free Italy, at the very least, from, you know, where Giuseppe is coming from. I could get rid of this, but honestly, I'm gonna keep it this way. I think for the time being, I would like to move off mercantilism. Nobody else really cares. The industrialists don't like this, but, well, the rural folk do, and I would like to listen to them. You know what? In fact, actually, the strongest person or the strongest faction, that's the only two laws that they want, really. The Roman Curia. I'm gonna go with protectionism here, okay? Let's just pass a modernizing law. Oh, yep, and there they are. They have now started two fights. General Enrico Toesca is defending in Lombardy, and of course losing. How else could it be? He is fighting valiantly, but it's just not enough. And then Giuseppe Mazzini is also losing indeed. That really, really sucks. The Republic of San Marco is going to die. Man, that is dire. That is dire. They're completely annihilating us. What do you want me to say? God damn. Is he actually going to win one battle? Oh my god. Giuseppe won a battle. That is the sole battle that was won in this entire war by our allied forces. He's a hero. He is a goddamn hero. We got one victory, but that doesn't change anything. Lombardy indeed lost. And now a rebellion is brewing internally. What a disgrace. This is an actual disgrace. They got all of our artillery, by the way. I built the artillery in this one province that is going to rebel. Ooh, that's kind of rough, huh? Well, listen, here's what we're gonna do. He won the single battle that was victorious on our side. Now, he is much more determined than Armelini, and that is exactly what we're about to use. I will grant him leadership, indeed, of the entire intelligentsia. I love his helmet now. Very, very nice. But this now makes it so that we have an adequate leader for our new government. And this new government is incredibly illegitimate already. The Roman Curia is no longer really fitting in because, well, they are moderates, we are republicans. We are very specifically against their dream of restoring the papacy, at least for the time being. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to keep passing this, I think, and then we're going to start to enact a rather radical new doctrine. And oh my god, wait, what happened here? The civic nobility just gave up their revolution. They just stopped doing it. I thought we were going to purge here, but apparently no purge. Maybe they are actually leaning into our new angle. Listen, my new policy now is actually very, very simple though. We will, as long as Mazzini is here, try to spread the message of Republican Italy. And we're going to start with our good friends in Tuscany. I'm pretty sure we're doing well. I'm pretty sure they have no allies, at least nobody that wants to really protect them. They got a couple, but I'm pretty sure those are just the people that also like us. Yep, everybody loves us. I'm going to go ahead and say, Tuscany, it is time that you become a republic. We cannot have, there he is, a Habsburg on the throne of one of the major regions in Italy. I will now spread republicanism. Let's take a look at this. Census suffrage, appointed bureaucrats, and parliamentary republic. That is what we would be getting if we do a regime change on Tuscany. How are my troops doing? Have we recovered yet? You're at 15k, you're full. Let's go. Let's turn them into a republic. Once they are a republic, by the way, they should be pretty likely to basically just join the fold, join a customs union, and then hopefully from there, unify with us. That is the goal. I want to do Risorgimento, but through the sword. Come on, you just want to give in. If I can just push them to give in, it would be really amazing. I would love that, but I mean, we'll see. Oh, wow. They really decided to fight. And so now we are on the offensive side, and you can see it right here as well. Obviously, it's going to select basically all units that we have because we don't have that many. But yeah, it is primarily selecting all the artillery, and then it moves on from there. You can see they are defending primarily with horses and line infantry. They're toast. This is basically over right now because they just don't have enough of a challenge. And most importantly, it is led by my man, Giuseppe. You know, we really have turned from basically a guarantee when it comes to being stable, being reactionary, being backwards, being a friend of all these reactionary backwards regimes all over Europe, into almost, you know, just a machine of destruction and chaos. We will turn Tuscany into a republic with the hope that that will just make them join us in a proper diplomatic pact. You can see they're taken, it's over for them. Can I get this peace deal from you, my friend? We're looking at a situation where I'm going to do that probably with all these miners up here in the hope that I can just annex them afterwards. Obviously, there is some infamy via regime change, but I mean, as you can see, we're doing it successfully, so that's a good start. All right, and now you have turned into a republic. Look at that. Tuscany. Chancellor Roberto di Salmur. We still have good relations, and I don't think we're that far away. Yeah, we're not that far away, actually, at all from getting a trade agreement and then maybe a customs union. I'm going to keep increasing our opinion here, and I think I will... Oh! Look at that. Modena sees the writing on the wall. They're just saying, you know what? I'm just going to join you, okay? Don't worry about it, pal. That is really good news, because this will be the first blobbing, and it will give us also, of course, access to Parma and co. right here. If I need to coup them the same way that I coup Tuscany, if I need to coup Sardinia, Piedmont, and two Sicilies, so be it. And oh my god, China is absolutely wild in. They have become now a warlord state, I believe. Yep, it's a presidential autocracy, and the Mongols and the Kazakhs are rising up. Oh my god. If they splinter, and if we actually form Italy, this could definitely be a huge source of income for us. And oh my god, Parma also actually just accepting to join Italy. That is incredible. Okay, sure. Sounds great to me. Oh yeah, I will owe you an obligation. This is huge. They all saw the violence that we did to Tuscany here, and it wasn't even long. We did this very, very quickly, the regime change, right? And now they're joining. I just hope Tuscany is also going to join the fold fairly soon. Oh my god. Hello. Okay, we're going to be a republic in Italy, for sure. And speaking about becoming a republic in Italy, freedom, equality, and brotherhood. The intelligentsia, under the leadership of Giuseppe Mazzini, I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing it correctly, right? Not Mazzini, but Mazzini. Anyway, has ushered in an era of liberal politics that promises a freer society where all citizens have part in the political process. Oh, we could turn him into a real cult of personality here, you know that? Ugo Tola. Oh, rural folk. That is so interesting. But I really like the protectionist nature, actually, of the rural folk here. No, I'm going to say he's a fearless visionary. That is insane. He's at what now? 123. Jesus Christ. And there's the first one. Unification with Modena. Diplomacy has indeed won the day. This now leaves us in a position where Tuscany and two Sicilies are the only free ones that are not just saying, you know what? Parliamentary democracy it is. Tuscany we've already turned. They will join us sooner rather than later. Two Sicilies may need some convincing here. Oh my god. Sardinia Piedmont is next. That is a huge acquisition. The small Italian state, well, okay, of Sardinia Piedmont has wisely decided to join our efforts to unify the Italian people. Diplomacy has won the day. Would you look at that? We will be Italy before long. Now, I am also very poor and running out of bureaucracy. I need to fix some stuff up here. But oh my god, Sardinia Piedmont getting annexed by us gave us now this massive, massive Roman army. 50,000 men just awaiting our command. I'm going to transfer these actually. We're just going to have one army. That is all we need, I think, for the time being. And I'm going to transfer these into the other army under Mazzini. And then I'm like, maybe we should use it. Maybe we should use it for regime change. What am I looking like in terms of infamy here? Let's do it. You know what? Let us do it. I will raise this army and I will take Naples. Now here I'm not actually even going to demand anything else. We just need a democratic Sicily because then they will in due time be willing to join us. I'm going to go ahead and immediately raise our troops in the hope that nobody else even is willing to jump in. The more threatening we look, the less does the AI think that helping an obvious loser makes a lot of sense. So yeah, let's pull this off, maybe. And I just got the pop-up, I sadly clicked it away, that Tuscany now supports Italian unification, and would you look at that? All of a sudden they're willing to join our customs union. Beautiful. And now we are talking. We are going full force in against the Bourbons. This fight may be a bit of a struggle just because, well, they have really, really good defensive units. And as you can see, we still only have 5 artillery pieces, which obviously isn't amazing. But we are going to whittle them down and we're going to defeat them eventually. Oh, and I guess this is perfect timing. As we are doing this, and as this, of course, puts a lot of strain on our economy, France is having a bit of a moment. What's going on here? We have a French religious revolt. Wow, I actually do not like that at all. A Bourbon on the throne here. Well, that's rough. I think I would rather support him right here, right? Can I even intervene in this? Oh, I totally could. We might intervene in this. We are in our own war, but we might intervene in this, because having a hostile, absolutist monarch on the throne here, that sounds like a nightmare. I don't think we're going to side with them just out of goodwill. I hope that we can negotiate with Emperor Louis de Bourbon should he win, but I'm not gonna side with him just out of goodwill. Alright, and the election results are now about to come in. This could change everything drastically because, well, you can see right here, we now have a whole lot more eligible voters in our country. Although, it does seem... Oh, that is less of a win than I thought they would be getting here, though. We are looking at a progressive victory, but there really is now a split between us and the Roman Curia. I mean, I don't have to knock them out, but are they really good for our government? I don't think Mazzini cares too much. They have been sabotaging us this entire time. I'm gonna go ahead and just limit our government to just these two. But the Conservatives are gaining ground here, and I will make this clear again, we're not locked in being Republican. Right now, it's just being very successful. He is our leader, he is succeeding, he is at the front line right now, fighting against the Bourbons, right? This makes a lot of sense that his ideology, where he pushes for republicanism, really wins out. But maybe the people here are a bit more conservative or even reactionary than we may have given them credit for. We'll see as we go. And there you go. Well, well, well. Chancellor Prince Leopoldo di Bourbon del Due Sicily has now taken over two Sicilies. They are a democratic republic with traditionalism. That is insane. But most importantly, long term, this indeed will also mean that they will be joining our customs union. I love to see it. We have democratized Italy. We will annex all these. We're now looking at two Sicilies even joining us as well. The only thing that remains when it comes to Italy is Austria. They need to go. And yep, we were busy. The war actually took quite a bit longer than I thought it would, and now we're looking at this guy. He won. Emperor Louis de Bourbon has claimed Savoy. France has announced its ambition to extend its borders from Savoy to the Rhine. This puts Savoy in considerable danger of invasion. I don't love it. I do not love it at all. Perhaps appeasement is the best approach. We just displaced his dynasty, so maybe appeasement is the best approach. I'm not going to war with France anytime soon, at least that is not in my plans. But yeah, the fact that they won and immediately claimed Savoy is not a good thing. This could also be a long-term rivalry if I don't give them Savoy. Oh, and I have risen up to be a major power. And being a major power in Italy qualifies you to be the unification candidate. And would you look at that? We have emerged. Only Tuscany. Oh, but Tuscany is locking in any second now. There they are. Everybody is supporting us. We could theoretically form Italy right now, but I'm not that interested in that because I want another rebellion in Venice and Lombardy before we do this. We could launch a unification play, but fighting Austria right now seems very spooky. Very, very spooky indeed. You know, I've been staring at this screen for a good while now. We have everybody behind us, but we're not ready yet. We are not ready yet to face Austria, in particular because Austria actually has skirmish infantry. But maybe we would be ready if we had France on our side. They are cordial with us, and if they owed us an obligation, we may even get them to give us a pact, you see? And we do have a very, very aggressive leader of this republic, Chancellor Giuseppe Mazzini. I think I'm going to sell Savoy to the French, use that obligation, hopefully, to get them on my side against Austria, and finish what we started in 1846. God, it looks weird when it's this tiny, you know? But if this is what makes it happen, if this is what makes it so that I can now go against Austria, then why wouldn't I do it, right? 1851, we're a bit early here, no doubt about it. I could even wait for a better historical moment. But you know what? I'm gonna get this alliance, first things first. I'm not sure whether right now really is the moment to go against Austria. We do also still have line infantry. We really need to upgrade that. Okay, how long until they can break this alliance? This alliance cannot be broken until 1861. We have plenty of playroom. We can just wait it out right now. I know, France is in my pocket. Okay, so the important news here now is that gives us time. It gives us 10 years in which we can modernize. And we need to modernize because we now know what skirmish infantry is, but we don't have any of it. I'm going to modernize the army, I'm going to modernize the navy, and hopefully I'm going to annex all this smaller stuff right here. Man, Mazzini is an incredible beast. That is unbelievable. He really led us into an incredible position. You gotta be kidding me. Pious? He became pious as he was leading our armies. think we're going back to theocracy. I think we're gonna invite the Pope back in once we unify Italy. Pious. That's unexpected. Well, but at least here's Tuscany. Isn't this gonna put us up over the limit? No, it won't. Nice. Okay, Tuscany annexed. There you go. You know what? I'm gonna do it, okay? I'm gonna invite Faustino Pennati di Momo. Is he gonna be the man to become Pope again? Let's find out. But we got Mazzini here. We might as well invite the Pope again. Okay, I'm sorry. What happened here? What is this? Okay, that's pretty funny. That's pretty good. Oh, check this out though. The Mexicans and the Americans are fighting yet again. Ah, interesting. They're gonna take all of this stuff and unify or finish off, I guess, their westwards expansion. Very nice. Yeah, and we are already seeing the long-term aspects here of imperialism forming. Britain is currently taking down Benin. I think, yep, it's just straight out conquering them. And then at the same time, the Ottomans are reclaiming Sinai, which just means that they will have the Suez Canal in their hands. We're still looking pretty good. Nothing really too wrong here. Prussia, I believe, yep, has now changed to unify Germany. Foster traditional values. That is truly a horrendous AI strategy there. Unlucky, pal. Most importantly, though, we are still allied to France. I have built up some other stuff, and we are now in a position where I can actually upgrade these armies. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm really torn, and I know that this, in the way Italy is currently behaving, is almost schizophrenic, okay? Republic, theocracy. What are we doing? And at the same time, we are looking at Mazzini here as a pious radical. If we were to try and pass theocracy, man, the intelligentsia would hate us. They would probably rebel. But at the same time, all I can say is, come the next election, the civic nobility is very clearly running on the premise of theocracy. If they win, if they form the next government, they're gonna try. That is the only way that I can really put it. I'm pretty sure that they are going to try to push that through, and it would be pretty cool. This temporary, unstable sort of republic that has achieved so much, that has turned so many people into fellow republics, and yet in itself was never sure whether it didn't want the Pope back as a unifier of all Italians. Really interesting stuff. Anyway, as I said, we're going to upgrade these units now. I've built some stuff there. Obviously, this is costing us a ton of money, it has to be said. But hey, skirmish infantry is what it will take to fight Austria. And oh my god, this election is a tight race. We have 4 parties, and almost all of them basically get 1/4 of the entire vote. The highest possible coalition when it comes to legitimacy is what I will put into government once this is over. If they want a theocracy, they want theocracy. It is what it is. We live dangerously here. Folks, and now this is an unbelievable election. Look at this. We have the right leading, but just barely leading the polls right here. Oh my god. Okay, well, we've always been a very unstable republic. We have been an unstable country this entire time, I think is even fair to say, and we're now sitting at 50 with the government that we had prior to the elections already. Alright, if we take a look at the government coalitions that we can now form, this is absolutely ridiculous. We have a 50 legitimacy government with the government from before the elections, so the Agrarian Party and the far left, the Republicans of this entire ordeal, and then 49. That is 1 minus point in terms of legitimacy. Just a single point worse with the industrialists and the civic nobility, with the civic nobility obviously having the actual guy, the actual Pope as an agitator who could become their leader once more, should we indeed actually form a government with them. I gotta end this episode right here, I'll be honest with you. I need to see in the comments what you folks think. We have been unstable, we have been an incredible masterpiece of an experimental republic and democracy, but now the question is here. Do we stick with democracy, or do we return to the Pope? Do we hand him power again so that he can potentially rule all of Italy? The one question that I am certain about for the next episode is the unification of Italy. That is definitely the big point ahead of us. But domestically speaking, republic or theocracy? You tell me in the comments. I'll leave you right here. I'm One Proper Varian, and I will see you later, alligator.